welcome to Captain's Quarters Podcast, episode 143. It is July 15th, 2024. And as you can see, there's another pirate in the scene there. This is Captain Mako. He's our guest for tonight. We're going to talk about a book that he wrote. I happen to have it right here in front of me. Well, beside me. Sea Beasties. We'll talk more about that. There it is right there. We'll be talking about that book right there. But for now, let's tell everybody, Davey, how they can find our show. We want you to go to Captain's Quarters Podcast on YouTube. Use that QR code. Like us, follow us, subscribe to us. I always forget that third word. I like the first word best. Makes me happy when people are liking us. I like to be liked. It's very important. Captain's Quarters Podcast every Monday night, and then we'll show you all the platforms at the end of the show where you can find us at any time and watch any of our 143 episodes. So there you have it. Thank you, Davey. Very good. Now, we always start off the show, although it may seem somber, it's not meant to be somber. It's meant to be honorific. 8 bells. And we've had, I think this will be our biggest 8 bells of the 140 episodes. Isn't that true, Davey?
It is.
All right. 8 bells, sponsored by the Riker family of reenactors. They do Spanish, they do British, they do Ren Fair, and they do Pirate. And David and Lori are very good performers for me when it comes to putting out our Mayhem's Nautical Museum, a traveling museum that we take so the kids have a chance to touch and feel real nautical history. It's very important to me to be working with the children and giving them that opportunity. Upon that note, Davey, we have 10 tonight, I understand, right?
Yep.
10. Sad, but let's see if I can keep from butchering everything. Joseph Sloan Bonsall Jr. was an American singer who was the tenor vocalist of the country gospel vocal quartet, the Oak Ridge Boys. Oh my gosh. They were some of my favorite country singers. 1973 to 2023. Besides charting numerous hits as a member of the Oak Ridge Boys, Bonsall had a solo chart credit alongside the band Sawyer Brown in their 1986 single, Outgoing Captain, on which he was credited as Cat Joe Bonsall. He was 76 years old. My. Shelley Alexis Duvall. Many of you know her as Shelley Duvall, an American actress known for her collaborations with Robert Altman and for playing eccentric characters. She was the recipient of several accolades and 2 for her leading roles across the 1980s, such as Olive Oil in the live-action version of Popeye and Wendy Torrance in Stanley Kubrick's horror film, The Shining. She was 75 years old. Number 2, Joe Henry Engel, an American pirate, aeronautical engineer, and NASA astronaut. He was the commander of 2 space shuttle missions, including STS-2 in 81 and the program's second orbital flight. He also flew 2 flights in the shuttle program's 1977 approach and landing test. Engel was one of 12 pilots who flew the North American X-15, an experimental space plane jointly operated by the Air Force and NASA. He was 91 years old. David Allen Loggins was an American singer, songwriter, and musician. He is best known for his 74 hit, Please Come to Boston, as well as his 1984 duet with Anne Murray, Nobody Loves Me Like You Do. During 1984, he recorded Nobody Likes Me Like You Do, a duet with Anne Murray, which scored number 1 on the Billboard Hot Country Singles. Loggins and Murray were named Vocal Duo of the Year at the CMA Awards during the 1985 season. He was 76 years old. Monty George Kiffin was an American football coach. He is widely considered to have been one of the preeminent defensive coordinators in modern football, as well as one of the greatest defensive coordinators in NFL history. Father of the wildly imitated Tampa 2 defense, Kiffin's concepts are among the most influential in modern college and pro football. He spent nearly 30 years as an NFL assistant coach, including 13 years as defensive coordinator for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, with whom he won Super Bowl 37. He was 84. Had to get my Roman numeral math out there. There you go. All right. Benjamin Gregory Hertzberg, professionally known as Benji Gregory, an American child actor and voice artist best known for playing Brian Tanner on the 86 to 90 NBC sitcom Alf. Gregory, besides his main role on Alf, appeared in several television shows which included Fantastic Max, Pound Puppies, Murphy Brown, Fantasy Island, The A-Team, TJ Hooker, Amazing Stories, The Twilight Zone, and Mr. Boogedy. He also made an appearance in the feature film Jumpin' Jack Flash. He was only 46 years old, ladies and gentlemen. Carola Ruth Westheimer, better known as Dr. Ruth, was a German-American sex therapist, talk show host, author, professor, and Holocaust survivor. In 2023, Westheimer received the Women's Entrepreneurship Day Psychology Pioneer Award at the United Nations in recognition as a trailblazer and innovation in their field and who inspire all around them to use their lives to make a meaningful impact on the world. She was 96 years old. Milton Teagle Richard Simmons, an American fitness personality and public figure. He was a promoter of weight loss programs, most prominently throughout his Sweatin' to the Oldies line of aerobics videos. He was 76 years old. Shannon Marie Doherty was an American actress. She was known for her many roles in television and film, including as Jenny Wilder in The Little House on the Prairie, Maggie Malene in Girls Just Want to Have Fun, Chris Witherspoon in Our House, Heather Duke in Heathers, Brenda Walsh in Beverly Hills 90210, and Prue Halliwell in Charmed and Dobbs in Fortress. She was only 53 years old, ladies and gentlemen. James Barry Sicking was an American actor best known for his role as Lieutenant Howard Hunter on the 1980s television series Hill Street Blues. He has made guest appearances on many television series, including Perry Mason, Rawhide, The Fugitive, Bonanza, Outer Limits, General Hospital, Incredible Hulk, Here Comes the Brides, Mannix, The Rockford Files, Bob Newhart Show, Hogan's Heroes, Rich Man, Poor Man, Book 2, Hunter, and Batman Beyond. He was 90 years old. That was a list right there. And that's all 10 of them, Davey?
That is.
Very good. So we'd like to raise our glass and give a cheer, more of an honor than anything else, to all these fine people that have had some impact on some of our lives, if not all of us, to their fans, to their families. We wish them honor. Aye. That was a list, and I only messed up one word.
It'd be a shame that last bloke didn't do more with his life.
I know.
75, 80 shows under his wing. Come on, get out there.
Way too many, and I bet I've seen him in every doggone one of them, too. All right. So after 8 bells, we try to bring it up a bit. Captain Mako, you better be prepared for this, because Mini-Me has to tell us a joke. And he is sponsored by, ladies and gentlemen, Salt City Comics. He's the man that's done all of our cartoon characters now and our new logo. And we're talking about a couple of other little projects to get him involved in. I think a comic book would be kind of fun. We'll see what happens, though. On that note, Minnie, where are you? Come on out, Minnie Mayhem.
Ahoy, mates. Minnie Mayhem here with Joke of the Week, sponsored by Salt City Comics. Why did the pirate get a tattoo of an anchor? Think about it, and I will give you the answer at the end of the show.
All right. Well, we'll have to see. I'm now curious why pirates would get an anchor tattoo. I'm not even going to guess. I'll wait until the end. We also started something new a couple weeks ago, National Day of, and there are like 6 of them.
No, Captain, quote of the week.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're absolutely right. That's what I got a good navigator for, is to guide me in the right direction. All right. Now you know why the rum is going. All right, quote of the week. My bad. Sponsored by Spyglass Travel. If you want a good walking tour of St. Augustine, where you're going to get some exercise and some history of the oldest city in the nation, you have to contact Spyglass Travel. My good friend over there, Kevin, he really does a good job. Kevin and Angie own the company and really do some fine tours of St. Augustine. So not only are you getting history, you're getting a cardio workout. That's always a good thing. It's especially good for us pirates because we have to do that once in a while to work off the rum.
Aye, we do. I'll check them out the next time I'm in town.
You will have to. I'll make sure that you get a good tour. You'll need that. In fact, I believe we're going to end up having to set you up for at least 2 or 3 different tours. That'll keep you busy. Might not keep you out of trouble, but it will keep you busy.
It'll keep me on the run.
There you go. Very good. So what is the quote of the week, Davey? Stay away from negative people. They have a problem for every solution. I like that. Very good. Albert Einstein. And he would know, too. Negative people, they have a problem with every solution. I truly will stand behind that one. Very good, Davey. Very good. Did you come up with that after our conversation earlier today?
Yes.
Very good. You did well. So, National Day of. Davey, we got what, 6 of them?
1, 2, 3.
1, 2,
Yeah,
3,
6.
4, 5, 6. 6 National Days of. So let's see what happens. National Day of Social Media Giving Day. Today is Social Media Giving Day on the National Day calendar, and we are encouraging everyone to use social media to make a difference in the world by promoting charitable giving. We are celebrating Social Media Giving Day by using social media to promote generosity and kindness throughout all platforms. National Get Out of the Doghouse Day. Boy, after 23 years of marriage to my wonderful woman, I didn't know they had one of these days. I probably could have used it. Occasionally, we all need a free pass. National Get Out of the Doghouse Day on the 3rd Monday in July offers the fast track home we all need once in a while. National Gummy Worm Day. National Gummy Worm Day gets a day of recognition on July 15th to honor a small candy that kids and adults all love. This is my favorite. National Tapioca Pudding Day on July 15th encourages us to dig into this pudding dish enjoyed around the world. When I was growing up, Davey, do you know what we used to call this when I was growing up?
No, what did you used to call it?
We called it fish eye pudding. Because all the little tapiocas in there look like fish eyes. Fish eye pudding, that's what we called it. What else is on there? I Love Horses Day. I bet Cindy over at the Pirate Museum is probably, I'm going to have to ask her if she knew today was National Horse Day. We recognize the love of one of the magnificent creatures on National I Love Horses Day. There are over 200 breeds these spirited animals give humans much to love. Their loyalty and devotion throughout history may only be a fraction of the reasons that we love them. They are very important. And National Pet Fire Safety Day reminds us to consider our pets when planning fire routes and safety in our homes. Not just fire routes, ladies and gentlemen, but down here in Florida, you're encouraged to make sure that if you have to evacuate, your pets go with you, and wherever you go, it is allowed. There are some shelters, although it's changed greatly over the last 5 or 6 years, there are some shelters that will not allow pets, but that has changed. So check it out. And we may start posting some helpful website hints starting next week. I have 4 cats and a dog.
Oh,
yeah. Which brings us to the question of the week, sponsored by Ancient City Sirens. That would be Miss Gina and her crew dancing tribal, belly dance, country dance for sure. You name it, they do it. It's just easier to put it that way. You name it, they can do it, and they do a great job, and they incorporate history in their dances. So it's very good. So are your pets so much a part of your family that you make plans and decisions based on their presence in your life? I know that's a long question, but here's what I mean. I have found people, and it really, COVID is a good excuse or a good reason. The Humane Society really ended up with a whole lot of animals because people couldn't take care of their animals because of the things going on in COVID. Hurricanes come in. Some people let their animals go and hope they'll do fine. two of our cats out of the four we have in our lives because they were refugees from hurricanes that we picked them up as kittens, wet little fur balls, took care of them, nurtured them, and now they are part of our family. So yes, this family makes decisions about our family and our plans based on our pets in our life. I bet everybody else does too. So, do you have pets, Captain Mako?
I don't have any pets that stay around for long. Try to bring animals on board the ship, but once the crew gets hungry, it becomes a problem. So I've stopped that practice entire.
I would have thought you might have had some as bait for some of your sea beasties also.
Oh, I wouldn't call them bait, but do we have animals? And we make a lot of plans based around them, but not as pets, not as we're going to the park and such.
Well, they give me something to think about once in a while. Nightingale in Florida, absolutely, we make plans for our cats. Actually, they kind of rule the house anyway. I have to agree with that. I also saw something, and I remember this. Dogs have owners. Cats have servants.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Upon that note, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for This Week in Nautical History, sponsored by Florida Water Tours. You want a great tour of the city. Earlier, I mentioned Spyglass Travel and a walking tour of the city, but if you want a great tour of the city on board a boat, a ship, pontoon, and see the city from the water of the Matanzas Bay, it is well worth it. And Florida Water Tours will do that for you. They have been a big sponsor of ours for a year now. Davey, give us This Week in Nautical History.
Welcome to This Week in Nautical History, sponsored by our friends at Florida Water Tours. Experience the Intercoastal Waterway at its finest, featuring picture-perfect attractions. We begin This Week in Nautical History in the year 1501. Portuguese explorer Pedro Cabral arrives back in Lisbon after successfully discovering Brazil and returning from India. 1545. King Henry VIII's flagship Mary Rose sinks at Portsmouth. 73 die. 1615. Nighttime naval battle off the coast of Peru between Dutch fleet led by George Spilbergen and Spanish fleet carrying silver. 2 Spanish ships sunk. 1696. Russian Tsar Peter I's fleet occupies the southern mouth of the Don River and gains access to the Sea of Azov after the surrender of the Ottoman Azov garrison. 1774. Captain James Cook arrives in the New Hebrides. 1783. World's first steamboat, the Pyroscaphe, built by Claude Francois Dorothy Marquis de Jouffroy d'Abans, makes its first voyage on the river Saône in France. 1801. HMS Investigator sets off on a voyage to determine if New Holland, Australia, is one island or two, under command of Matthew Flinders, with botanist Robert Brown and artist Ferdinand Bauer and William Westall aboard. 1819. Fabian Gottlieb von Bellingshausen set sail to explore Antarctica for Tsar Alexander I. 1843. The steamship SS Great Britain is launched. Designed by Isambard Kingdom Brunel, is the first ocean-going craft with an iron hull or screw propeller and the largest vessel afloat in the world. 1850. American cargo ship Elizabeth, returning from Italy, wrecks in a storm off the coast of Fire Island, New York, killing 10, including journalist Margaret Fuller, her husband, and child. 1862. CSS Arkansas versus USS Corondelet and Queen of West engage at Yazoo River. And finally, also in 1862, David Farragut is first Rear Admiral in U.S. Navy. And that was This Week in Nautical History.
Very good, Davey. As always, interesting points about nautical history. I think we were talking earlier in the pre-show about something having to do with master and commander. I think the one about the ship sailing around Australia may have had a touch of that also, when they were trying to determine Australia's time frame. I think that was the proper time. You, Captain Mako, you had let me know that the pirate you were talking about was much earlier than Master.
Aye, William Dampier. I
Yes.
don't recall the name of his ship, but he was one of the first to go around the shores of Australia, and he documented a lot of the creatures that he found there, what you can't find anywhere else. And as I mentioned, one of the things he did was he wrote himself a book, which Darwin took with him to Galapagos later as part of when he were upon the Beagle. He had the book of a pirate to tell him about different creatures that he encountered.
Yet one more thing that pirates are being involved in that
Aye.
we keep bringing up in history. Upon that note, Davey, with the nautical history that you did so well, as always, we tend to use this space right here to talk about new adventures. Right now, there's not much on the books. There's some things happening in August, but I'm not going to worry about them. We do have our T-shirt project that we're doing, that if you buy a T-shirt for $26, you will get a Captain's Quarters Podcast Challenge coin. And on the 2nd of September, we will be doing a raffle of all those people that bought T-shirts and giving out a few extra prizes. And a portion of the money goes to the Humane Society at the end of the month to give them some money towards what they do. So join us for our T-shirt podcast. As a week and a half ago, we found out that our website that we had for the podcast and for the Swashbucklers, it had all evaporated. I'm in the process of trying to get it all put back together and get it up. But being as tech savvy as I am not, I require extra people to help me out. And just like this show, if it wasn't for Davey, I'd just be the pretty face standing here talking to everybody. So Davey is the man that runs the show. One other thing that we've got, did you get a sponsor letter? There you go. If you want to help us for Spooktacular 2024, we're looking for 16 sponsors at $200 per sponsor to be our scene sponsors. We have 8 major scenes. We would put 2 sponsor logos in each scene. We create a sign, this scene created and sponsored by, and put your logo and your name right there. And you also, by being a sponsor, you get a couple of other things too. Let's see if I can read them because it's a little on the small side, but you'll get your logo and or name on the scene. You'll also get your name or logo on the thank you, entrance, and exit banners. You also get your name or logo in the soon-to-be created Facebook event page for the Spooktacular October 25, 6, and 7. And you'll get mentioned in a weekly live episode of the Captain's Quarters podcast for 12 weeks or however many weeks leading up to it that you get involved. And we'll give you some children's tickets to give away and get people involved. So if you get your sponsorship before the 5th of August, it's $200. If you wait until after the 5th, we'll give you to the 23rd, but it's going to be a little bit more because we have to rush around and do other things. If you do it after the 23rd of September, it's $300, and we hope you won't wait that long, because the longer you wait, the worse your chances are of making sure I get all the printing done with your logo on it. So do get involved. You can use either the PayPal or the Venmo and give us a donation of $200 that makes you a sponsor. We're looking at primarily businesses, but I have had a few individuals that would like to support. And by all means, it all goes to charity. The more money we make in the support of the event, the more ticket money goes to our event. And I believe last year we gave, $3,600, $4,000 away to charity? Something like that, just out of Spooktacular. So we're hoping to do even better because we're already getting people asking us about it. So we do need you to support us. We are coming out with a couple of other sponsorships that are major, bigger sponsors, but that'll be posted by next Monday. So join us if you like. We'd love to have your sponsorship. And all you have to do is use PayPal or Venmo, use those QR codes, or drop us a line and we'll send you the QR codes to the email or a Facebook message. On that note, Davey, it's time for our guest, Captain Mako. And
right.
welcome aboard to our show.
Thank you for having me.
A Pirate's Guide to Denizens of the Deep, both fair and foul, mostly foul, being a record by Captain Mako himself on how to spot, kill, avoid being killed by profit from all manner of monster for the benefit of the Greenhorn Pirates. That has got to be the longest title of a book I have ever read.
Well, as you may recall, back in the day, printing weren't no easy venture. So if you wanted someone to throw their coin down, you had to let them know exactly what they was in for.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
That does the trick.
Let me give my first analysis of the book. We've been talking now for a couple of months. At least a couple of months. It might be even a little more. And I was very interested in having a copy of the book. Oh, by the way, while it's in my head, I need to say this. We were selling your books in the Pirate Museum gift shop.
Aye.
They may be out.
They may be out. I'll send them down and find out.
Follow up on that, or talk with me later, and I can follow up on it. But I've actually, every time I come out of some of my tours, I recommend this book to people, and I think they're all gone now.
I appreciate it.
I mean, it's the least I can do. When you give me something free, I'm going to try to give you something back for it. Good pirates work with each other.
That is what we do. Yes. I appreciate it, and I'm pleased to hear that it be doing well. I've got it stationed in different ports around the country, and so far it's been received well.
What I like about the book, it's, as I said in pre-show, it's clean. It's clean, meaning, Davey, put a picture up there real quick. You got at least one or two, right? Pages?
Yeah.
Every page is a different denizen of the deep. That page is devoted to that one denizen. You turn the page, it's another one. I'm looking at mermites right now, and right next to it are marrows. Go ahead. There. What is that one?
That one be called the Raud Kemberger. That's a creature from Scandinavia, one of the Ilveli, the evil whales. That one just is a mean sod who likes to destroy ships for no good reason, and that comb upon his back be flaming red, and it'll kill you if you touch it. So this is what I mean by clean. Every page is its own separate subject. It doesn't bleed over to the next page. You were able to keep all the information and everything by page. Nightingale wants to know if the book is available at Barnes & Noble. No, not yet. You can find it on the website. Aside from fine stores such as the Pirate Museum in St. Augustine, if you go to seabeasties.com, you can find it there. It connects to Amazon for the time being. I'm hoping for Barnes & Noble. Not yet. Do you, are you self-selling this? Are you taking care of distribution, or do you have somebody else that's doing it for you? It's a self-publishing company, so it goes through a division of Amazon. So you can either get it from there, they print it, or if I'm doing it through a museum, I'll have them print up a batch and send them to me, or send them to the museum direct. But it's all going through me. So how about if we let's do this, because Nightingale is one of my crew, and I've shown the book off. It's been sitting here. What if let's talk afterwards and see if maybe we can't make a deal that you send me a box of them that my crew can all purchase. I'm not gonna try to make you give them to us for free, but I'll see how many of my crew want one. And if you could get them, would you be kind enough to autograph each one for my crew?
Yeah, I was gonna say, can you get them signed?
I'd be more than happy to. I'll have them shipped to me. I'll sign them out and ship them back to you. All right, and then we'll work on the fees of that. How does that sound to you there, Nightingale?
I like it.
I know Davey likes it, so Davey will want one. And we may pick up an extra copy or two in the pile, because then we'll use them as giveaways or raffle items.
Yeah,
for down
that's
the road.
2 people that want one. So I mean, yeah.
See, there's another one.
Yeah,
There's
they'll
another
buy
one
them
of our
up.
crew. Right there, I've just sold 3 or 4 of them for you.
Much obliged.
All right.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you.
And I haven't even held the gun to your head yet.
Well, that's all right. There's a line foreman, so you can jump right in.
But let's see what we can do. But yeah, the book is clean. It's interesting. I have 2 questions for you to start our conversation. First question: what made you decide to do this book? That's always a good question to ask any author. So I'm asking you, what made you decide to do this book on this subject material?
So this book be a field guide for younger pirates. I found as I was going into taverns and trying to be in McCups, I would have young pirates come up to me and ask all manner of questions. Captain Mako, how do I handle this beastie? Captain Mako, how do I handle that one? And rather than go through and interrupt me drinking, I figured let me pin them all down, maybe make a coin or 2 off of it. And here you go. So I've listed 165 beasts what I've encountered. Now that don't mean it's every beast in the sea, but I figure a pirate, say a mermaid, oh ain't she pretty or whatever. You need to know what you're doing when you deal with mermaids, as I'm sure you've found yourself, Mayhem. So that were the basis. Stop being, inexperienced pirates and leave me alone to make ups. And that way we're both happy.
Aye, there's nothing worse than having the young pirates interrupt you wrong.
Aye.
Aye. Yes, you do. Ransom Mayhem is my brother. He runs the Pirate Festival over in Panama City. As we talked about in pre-show, though, you getting out of your area to come down is not an easy chore for you. So, Will the historian wants to know what your favorite beastie is in the book. That was going to be one of my questions, but I'm glad he beat me to it. Go ahead.
Favorite beastie in the book. Well, favorite beastie in the book be a tough one. There be some what are helpful to a pirate. They ain't all out to kill you. Most of them, but not all of them. But I think the one that is the most, I ain't going to say the Kraken, because everyone talks about the Kraken, but I'll show you the one that probably the most impressive. Let me just flip over to it here. Just a moment. JKL.
As you're looking for it, I'll tell the audience. Go ahead. You got it? There you go. The Leviathan.
This is Leviathan. Now, Leviathan be a term, if you can hear me, Leviathan be a term what be used for large whales and large beasts, but there be only one Leviathan. A creature so large, it ain't even a creature. It's a force of nature, 30 mile in length. Its teeth alone be the size of mountains. When a Leviathan passes at a goodly rate, takes about 2.5 hours for it to pass you. Thunder out of the sky, lightning out of the sea. My favorite only because it'd be the most destructive and the most awe-inspiring.
Well, that's a good one. And the artwork in this is great. Are you responsible for the artwork?
I am. I wrote and drew and put the whole thing together, with the exception of editing, which went to me, my pirate queen, Pirate Queen Lady Molly. Other than that, because she's much more learned than I be. But other than that, everything. Oh, now there she is with that 2-penny jackanape again.
Yeah.
All right. Him aside.
And as I always like to tell everybody, Jack Sparrows are like Elvis. There's one on every street corner.
He moves in. Don't he? That's all right. I know Jack well. But Lady, the Pirate Queen, Lady Molly, help me out with this here book. But otherwise, it all be
Very good. I see Parlay 8 is on. Are you familiar with Parlay 8?
No.
Well, now you are. They have their own little podcast that they do, but they do fewer episodes on a yearly basis. They'll be doing their first one sometime, I believe, and they can correct me if I'm wrong, but they are going to be on our show on August 19th. But they have a good following of people, and they talk about all things pirate. You might be a wonderful guest to have your book on their show too. There's just a hint for my friends right there. Christina says her favorite animal is the powder monkey.
The powder monkey.
Yes.
Well, let me show you another one. I'll show you another one. If you like the powder monkeys, I'll show you another small beast. Where be it? JKLM. I have to remember my alphabet. Hang on. The moon cusser. I don't know, Captain Mayhem, if you got to moon cussers or not.
Oh, I've never seen one of them, but
The moon cusser. Now, you might have heard moon cusser as an occupation for certain people, but these be a type of, I suppose you'd call them a gremlin of sorts. They live on rocky shorelines and blind as a bat, But what they do is they can hear the approach of a ship, and when the moon be shrouded behind clouds or there be a storm coming, they'll light a small candle upon the top of their head, go out onto the seashore, and mock as if they were a lighthouse to lure your ship into the rocks. And then once you've crashed, they come down upon you, pick you apart. Their encampments be made of nothing but bones and broken masts and torn up sails, and they be a miserable lot. But they do sort of function as powder monkeys.
Aye, they sound formidable for sure, and probably somewhere I don't want to be along with them. Aye.
Terrible beasts.
You said 163 beasties in this book.
165, I believe.
165, and you've made a couple of comments already that give me this next question. These sea beasties, some of them are indigenous to various parts of the world.
Aye.
So when you did your research, aside from your own personal notes on encounters, did you find lots of information on some of these also?
I did, and it ain't all about the ones in England or the ones in the Caribbean Sea. You go to the Sea of Japan and you find some unusual beasts sailing around the shores of Australia. They've got their own type of mermaid, two types of mermaid, in fact, and some hard creatures and some what you really don't need to worry about. If you ever go into the billabongs of Australia, you'll find the bunyip. Not exactly a sea beastie, but a water beastie. There'll be a lot in here. They live in lakes and streams and not just in the ocean. But I also have in the back of you ain't going to see it proper, but in the back, I've placed a map of the globe, as far as I've seen it in any case, numbered, so that whatever part of the world you be in, you find the numbers there, flip to that page, and it'll tell you which beast you're like to encounter.
That looks wonderful. That's a great way. We may have to take a copy of that one and put it up here. Where did you get the idea for the beasties?
Well, go through the history books. I love to say I had the imagination to make them up, but no. I mean, I've put my own spin, and not every one of them is the way they're described in antiquity. But you'll find these all over the place. I'll give you another example, especially since it be what is it? A horse love day, something along the lines.
Yep.
The hippocampus. You may have heard of the hippocampus. You've certainly seen it in statues where they make it a horse with a fish's tail. That ain't what a hippocampus be. It's more like a giant sea dragon, which would be a type of seahorse.
Very cool. And again, the artwork, each page is an individual one. So Nightingale in Florida asked, what beastie would be off the coast of Florida?
Well, off the coast of Florida, there'd be one. Let me see if I can, with my depth perception, close enough. There'd be, Florida being near the Caribbean, close enough. So you'll find a plethora of them. But if you go just north, towards Georgia, more along them lines, but certainly in Florida, you'll find one what's called the Alti, or the Altimaha, which be a terrible name, but that's what it's called. And I'll show you that one as well. Sort of a giant... golden retriever of the ocean, you might say. It's probably the one friend you'll have upon the ocean. The Alti loves to fight off beasts larger than it in the protection of any man it finds adrift.
Oh,
so
wow.
Keep an eye out for the Alti.
So Parlay 8 just said that their crewmate Tripod has one of the seahorse ones that you had, one of those tattooed on her leg. So some of these creatures that are in your book, there are many pirates that have had encounters, so to speak, and we all know that we tattoo our lives on our arms and our legs and our backs and keep a good running record of what we've done. So I'm sure that some of your creatures are adorned on many pirates all around.
Oh, aye, no doubt. Even if they ain't the way they look in nature, that's fair enough. You get the mermaid. The one that I find happens a lot is the difference, and I'm sure you know it, the difference between a mermaid and a melusine. I don't know if you're familiar or not, but there be a coffee place which has very famously what they call a mermaid on their cup. and that being no mermaid. That's called a melusine. Let me see if I can find that one for you. The difference between a mermaid and a melusine, most importantly, be that the melusine has 2 fins, not the one. There she be.
Ah.
Now, the melusine be a vicious creature, somewhat of an ocean monster, but what it loves to do is swim up shore, swim into townships. She has a poison in her skin. She'll get into the local town water supply. She'll bathe in the wells and such. And what her poison does is it makes the female population sick, and it makes the male population fall hopelessly in love with her, upon which she'll devour anyone. And there even there, and also the difference: mermaids be female only. They mate with humans, and there ain't no male mermaid. Sorry to say, but melusines do have a sort of male. That be sort of a parasite. It latches on. They herd them like cattle, and they latch on, and you don't want to know how it works, but there do be males.
Some of them are just terrible. So Zachary Harker, our man from Michigan, I have a shark maid on my forearm. The bottom half is modeled after a bull shark.
Modeled after a bull shark. Aye, well, mermaids come in all shapes and sizes. They tend to take the form of the local fish life. So you'll find some that look like rays, and some that look like sharks, and some that look like codfish, and whatever. It depends on where you be, but ain't nothing wrong with a shark mermaid.
So speaking of sharks, that is your name, a mako shark, aye?
Aye.
So do you have a tale for how you got that name?
Well, I'll call it my own. Mako just be the type of shark what swims in the deep ocean and don't take no guff. You know, everyone talks about the great white and the tigers and all that stuff, but you don't want a Mako on your hands.
Well, it takes away from the old saying, better get Mako. Nobody wants it. So the book has been a success for you so far.
It has indeed. It has indeed. Selling it online has done well for me. And as I say, I sell it through pirate museums and pirate stores, perhaps, you know, Pirate Fashions in Tampa and the Witta Museum up in Yarmouth, Massachusetts and such. A few other stores that ain't necessarily pirate museums, but of the darker nature. And of course in St. Augustine. So it's done quite well for me.
Well, I haven't seen it on the shelf for about a week down in the Pirate Museum. So we need to work that out, see what it is, and we'll get it taken care of.
We should rectify that. Thank you for letting me know. And if I may,
absolutely.
Basically, now, as you may have read through the book, it ain't necessarily for children. A lot of it can be, but some of it is a bit on the violent side. I mean, it does say to kill or not be killed. So I came out, decided to come out with a second book, if I may.
Yep, we talked about this.
We did. So this is a McCullough book for the youngsters, the young pirates, the very young pirates in training, not just the greenhorns. 26 letters of the alphabet, one creature for each letter. And on the alternate pages, I've got pirate jokes and pirate facts that the young ones might not know. Few games in the back. So this is a new one that you can get on Amazon. This one, there'll be no stores what carry this yet. It's brand new.
Well, we'll have to talk to them about putting that in the museum, because we cater to families and children in the museum. And so there's a bunch of wee little young ones that probably would do that.
I much obliged.
I may have to bang your head a little bit, because I'm working on I've been working on it just with notes. I haven't really put anything together other than notes in a file on one of those computers that we keep everything in nowadays. But I'm working on a magic book for children, a piratical magic book. And so I may have to talk to you, because you said yourself published on this book here, right?
I self-published it, and it is not a difficult process. One of your viewers asked whether or not it were available in Barnes & Noble. That's a bit more of a trick, but the self-publishing, I'm at your service. You ask me a question, I'll let you know.
So when you self-publish a book, because also our good friend Matthew Frick, who is the curator of our museum, he's written several books, and he wrote a book on Thomas Tew out of Rhode Island. And he's self-published also. And I have another friend who's been on the show, Andrew Nance. Davey knows Andrew. Andrew has written several books, a couple of them that are horror books for children, and he's gone through the self-publishing. So it sounds to me like more and more self-publishing is the easiest way to do it, and you have a bit more control over what's going on.
There'd be a stigma upon it because in the early days of self-publishing, the quality weren't so good. But that's long since changed, and I wouldn't be putting it out through this if it weren't if I weren't happy with it. But I'll tell you that there are several different companies that will do it. The one that I'd be going through be affiliated with Amazon, and they've been their quality be good, their response time if there be a problem, as there tends to be. They do print them on demand, so occasionally one will be off, but they'll fix it proper. And so I've been happy. So I'll be happy to tell you all about it.
So this book and your coloring book are the first two that you've done?
Aye.
You have any
First
plans
two.
for anything else?
Well, I already have some for people who the original book came out on the Kickstarter to help me back it up and get some of the printing.
I actually did see that, and I was looking through to get some more notes for tonight, and I came across your Kickstarter. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you did better than you thought you were going to do.
I did indeed. We set we set it low, figuring we had no idea what people would do. One of the good things with Kickstarter be that if you don't make your goal, everyone gets their money back. There ain't no giving it away. But as it turned out, more people than I expected were interested off the bat, and there we go. We had enough to start us off and to get some copies for ourselves. So it was gratifying.
Well, it's always good to see somebody in our line of work as pirates, with the emphasis on the entertainer part of it too, for sure, being able to do something that enables other people to learn about our love of the history of pirates and the things that go with all the nautical world that we are so fondly preaching about. I guess I hate the word preaching, but it works here because I find myself at times having to talk to people and sway them from what they think they know about pirates to what they will learn about pirates, I guess.
Aye.
And speaking of pirates and history, you are affiliated with a couple of museums up there in your part of the world. And we didn't tell everybody yet. So you're up just a bit north of that place that loves to have tea parties, a place called Boston.
Aye. So yeah. I make port in Boston at the moment. Been here for some time, in fact, and I've been working with the Widda Pirate Museum in Yarmouth, Massachusetts, and then they have a satellite museum closer to where I am in Salem, Massachusetts. I don't work with them, but I do occasionally work alongside them, and I should say I don't work for them, but occasionally with them, and they've been carrying the book as well.
So that picture right there that Mr. Davey put up, that was
Salem.
Salem?
Aye, that'd be the one in Salem. Real Pirates of Salem. And if you happen to be up in the Salem area, there'd be two pirate museums. This be the only one I work with. Nothing against the other one, but this one be specific to the artifacts found upon the wreck of the Widda for Sam Bellamy's ship. You can even go in and there be a box where you can touch real pirate gold.
So several years ago, pop that one back down for just a minute, Davey. That one too. Thank you, sir. Several years ago, we tried to do myself and one other person at the museum. We offered a tour, and the subject matter of the tour was for pirates only, and each one of them was a different subject. Sam Bellamy of the Widda we talked about as a pirate for love because that was his story, kind of a romantic story, so to speak. Blackbeard was a pirate for ego. Bartholomew Roberts was a pirate for money. And I never remember who the fourth pirate was. For some reason, when I tell the story, I don't know who it was. For some reason, I want to say it was Henry Every, but because he became a pirate and then vanished into the wilderness, and nobody knows what ever happened to him. So
and Kid were a pirate because he didn't know what he was doing.
No, that's true. Kid didn't know. And Parley 8 says Lashing's favorite pirate is Sam Bellamy. All right, so you got a fan there already. And one of these days, I want to get up to that direction of the world. I have invites to go to Quebec. Nova Scotia now, because I have pirate friends in all those areas. Now I have pirate friends in Massachusetts.
You do indeed. You let me know when you're in the area. We'll show you around.
Might have to take some kind of a tour of everything I can up there. Maybe that'll be on my bucket list and come up there.
You know, it ain't a big place, but there'll be a lot. There'll be a lot to see.
So, as Captain Mako, how long have you been doing your pirate version of informing the common folk of all of us pirates and their history and their story?
Well, this year book only came out last October. So this be fairly new. I mean, I've been telling people for years and years and years, but officially starting with this.
Now, have you had a good many authors, and we just had one. We had Captain Kidd from down South Florida. He has a book for children, and he was at the he was here in St. Augustine this last weekend to do a book signing. Have you done a book signing?
Hi, Kid Carson. Kid Carson.
Yes, Kid Carson. Yes,
I know him.
Yes,
I do.
He's got a good book. We're trying. One of the, and I asked you in pre-show about our February event, because one of the things we do is we set up a section of our festival, and any authors that we can find are invited to come to the festival to sell their books, talk about their books, and we don't charge them anything. We give the authors free rein. It's a way for me to help do something that's very near and dear to me, and that is that I believe that pushing reading on children is very important.
I agree, and I appreciated it, and hopefully I'll be able to take you up on that, especially where it be the beginning in February.
Yes, always the first weekend of February. Yeah. I believe Kid Carson will be doing it too, and I know Matt Frick. Do you know Morrow, who's written a book or two?
Adam Morrow, I do.
Adam, he's done it 2 years in a row.
I do. Do you know Captain J?
Yes, I do. Yes,
Captain J is an old friend of mine. So I found myself surrounded by people who write books. I may not have met them all in person, but it's coming together.
You know what? One of the things I'm sure you'll agree with this, Captain. But one of the great things is that when there's a pirate with your talent and your vision or your idea, you start to work on it. You can reach out, and you'll find you'll have lots of worthy advice and lots of worthy words to keep you going. It's nice. I think it's one of the reasons. Parlay 8 also said Tucci has written a book too. I forgot about that.
That's him, Captain J.
Yeah, Captain J. So I have found that I get the same kind of support from other pirates with this show. And it's very important that we use this show to promote other pirates who are doing what they're doing. Your book, and Kid Carson's book, and Jay Tucci, and we have had. Look at this! I have to go to my stack of books here. I have a stack of books, believe it or not. Kevin Doofus, all about Blackbeard. It's a great book. I learned some things from him when he was on the show. We learned all kinds. I have another book here, Pirate, Ghost, and Buried Treasure, we're going to be doing. Pirate Hunter of the Caribbean. It's more of an adventure book. But I just keep acquiring more and more and more books. And
we'd be a creative
on board. What's that?
We'd be a creative lot, no matter what some might say about the average pirate intellect. We'd be a creative lot, if nothing else.
Well, I think that just goes without saying, because they were creative in creating what they created to become the pirates that they were.
And we've managed to build, I hope, a society, not a society, a group of people with common interests who support one another. That ain't always the case, of course, but if pirates don't support each other, who will?
I have often said, if we don't talk about ourselves and share, nobody else is going to talk about us. And if they do talk about us pirates, 9 times out of 10, they'll be talking about us through the bad side.
Aye, that'd be true.
So, go ahead.
I wanted to, I don't know if you're going to mention it or not, but I did want to, wanted to give people an offer. not the rum. I ain't offering me rum. If they go to seabeasties.com, which you can see scrolling across the bottom there, and you can get the books from there. You can go onto my website. I do also have a bit of merchandise, these pirate mugs and such, Kraken mugs, few other items. But if you sign up for my mailing list, I won't bombard you with messages. I'll send you offers every now and then. But what I will do for new signups, especially for viewers of this show, I'll send you a document what's got 4 or 5, I believe it's 5 different pages. 2 of them from the Sea Beasties book, 2 of them from the coloring book, and 1 of them which is from the Sea Beasties book, which weren't ever published. It were only done for the Kickstarter. So it's another creature entry which you can't find anywhere else. So sign up for my mailing list there. You'll automatically get all of them sent to you.
Very good. I like that, and I hope most of my listeners will do that. And the best part is that there'll be people listening and watching our show all through the next week or 2 also. So that's always a good thing. So you'll have to let me know how that works out too.
I will.
You probably see my name on it. I keep putting my name on all kinds of mailing lists. One of these days, it might just be a good idea. I don't know. We'll see. So
I don't bombard anyone. I ain't got that much to say. But when I do, I'll send it out to you.
Very good. Very good. So, Davey, you got any questions for our Captain Mako here? Anybody else with questions too? Go ahead and throw them in there. Nightingale in Florida says you can never have too many books. I tell the children that all the time. Collection of books is a grand thing. I have a book in my collection that's an 1881 copy of a magic book, first edition. And I have a first edition Ben-Hur somewhere around here too. I love books. I just think books are very important. And I probably have a collection now of close to 100 various different pirate books. That's how many books there are out there about pirates.
I'm probably just behind you on that. I've probably got about 85 of them myself.
Yeah, it was surprising when I started doing pirating 19 years ago that I would start collecting all these books, and there's so many different books. And then there's a lot of people that come up and start writing books on pirate history. So in pre-show, you made a comment, and I missed part of it, but there's a children's charity you work with a lot up there?
Oh, yeah, I know. So we've not particular to this, although I will mention something about a charity.
We always before you say, we always like to make sure that everybody knows that our pirates, no matter where they're from, Quebec, up in Quebec, our good friend up there, and Jay, and who's Parlay 8, and over on the West Coast, Lycan, and I just throwing names out there, being a name dropper, all these pirates do stuff for charity, and most of the time it's children's charities, and people need to know that. So let's talk about what you do. Go.
Well, so in addition to doing, we do events for companies and parties and whatnot, but we also get called in to do things like hospital events. We've done some for the Shriners here in Boston, where they did a Talk Like a Pirate Day event for their children who suffered from various stages of burns. So we did a Pirate Day for them. We've raised money for numbers of charities. Again, the pirate groups here are nearly as large as they be in other parts of the country, but the Rogues Armada, which be the larger group I helped to run and helped found, we've done quite a bit over the years. And the next one I was going to mention, starting in August, what we call August, be International Pirate Month. Registered event. You can find it in Chases and all of them things. Look it up. International Pirate Month. Not the same thing as Talk Like a Pirate Day. International Pirate Month be set aside for a whole month for pirate crews to just remind them that as they do an event, donate to some charity. Anything. Just set aside part of the month, do an event for charity. A few years ago during the pandemic, we put up a video every day from different pirate crews and different pirate authors and scholars and whatnot. We had Kevin McNally, who played Mr. Gibbs in the pirate movies, do one for us. And all the money that we raised from that went to an organization called Feeding America for the food and food pantries across the country. So we've done quite a bit, and I believe those videos still be up on YouTube, and and the links still be active. So if you watch them and you enjoy them and you make a donation, we don't collect any of it. It goes straight to the charity.
Are you doing anything this year then?
Now that the pandemic's over and everyone's back out, it's harder to get them lined up to do it. But I think to a smaller degree we will, and I'll be reissuing some of the videos we already have.
Very good. Well, it gives me some ideas. August, International Pirate Month. Well, maybe Mr. Davey and I need to come up with an idea of doing something that'll join forces with you on that.
We love it. We love it. All the help we can get. And if you get a chance, even just for fun, look that up on YouTube. Although Navigator Davey, that's probably where you got it from. There'll be some fine videos in there. Again, capped at the end by that Captain Jack bloke, but that's all right. We'll let it pass.
All right, see, there's somebody already signed up for your newsletter.
Cheers, Ransom.
Happy Ransom Mayhem. That's my brother. Pirate brother and blood brother, real blood brother.
Oh, excellent. Ransom, if for some reason you don't get your documents in the next few minutes, let me know. Send an email, captainmako@seabeasties.com, and I'll make sure you get them. Very
good. So you did not get a chance to go to Long Beach and meet all the pirates out there.
Hey,
no. Me neither. I spent my money on a ocean voyage cruise with my wife and 14 other pirates of my crew, and keeping my wife happy, keeping the Commodore happy, so to speak, is much more important than going and visiting with all the other pirates on the West.
Nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. Although someday I would like to get out to Long Beach, as I would like to get down to Florida. I've got some more traveling to do.
Well, the next time the order, possibly, it's not been set in stone yet, but the next induction may be St. Augustine, but there may be some other things they'll be talking about. I hope they decide St. Augustine so I can lend a hand and make it even better than it was the last time it was in St. Augustine, because it was in St. Augustine in 2022, I believe it was, right? Maybe 22?
Yes.
Yeah. So we're looking forward to doing what we can to bring the order back here again if we can.
Well, I hope to join you and meet you in person.
Aye, well, and the rum will be on me to start with,
Excellent.
But I'll be taking some of your doubloons and paying for a second bottle.
Understood. Fair play.
Right. So I like to ask a question that's kind of strange, but it's always a good one to ask people, especially us pirates who deal with the public all the time. Do you have a particularly positive story that always sticks in your mind that you like to share and brag about?
Ooh.
It's a good one, isn't it? I probably should have asked you beforehand too, but I like to get you off the guard here.
No, I do have one I'm proud of. It's a bit maudlin, but I'll tell you anyway. Without names. Actually, I don't think I'd recall the names at this point. But years ago, did a party for a young child whose birthday it were, and he lived with his grandmother. And you go about your business, you do the pirate training and whatnot, and towards the end of the day, and he were having a grand time, far as I could tell. Toward the end of the day, the grandmother approached me and says, "I have to tell you that my grandson, his parents abandoned him. So he's been living with me. He's 8 years old. And today he came, after the party, he came up to her and said, 'Grandma, I want to be a pirate when I grow up.' She said, this be a little boy who, because of his situation, had been self-harming and never talked about the future, didn't want to live. And this were the first time ever where he talked about, I want to live, I want to do something, even if it were to be a pirate.' So whatever happened that day, I imagine he felt a desire suddenly to stay around with us longer, which I'd be quite proud of.
All right, well played then for you. It's always good when you have those kind of instances where you have children that step out of that shell that they've put themselves in, and then they become part of our family. Then, it's wonderful. I have stories like that I love to share. In fact, I've been considering, but I think it's going to, and if I put too much of the idea out here, someone may steal it from me, but we're pirates, so I guess it would be expected. I've always thought of putting together, and I've collected phrases and words and questions that pirates have always, or that children have always asked, or incidents that children have always asked. I'm thinking now, Parlay 8, you could help me out with this also. I'm thinking now, over the last 3 or 4 or 5 weeks, that it might be a good collaboration book, and to get some stories from different parts of the world and add to it, because I know now pirates of our families, especially our good friend up in Quebec, Captain Smoo, he just went over to England and Germany for pirate festivals over there. And so I'm sure he's got some good stories, but we all have good stories because 85% of what we do, especially if we're doing it proper, it's for the children.
Aye. There's no shortage of ego when it comes to pirates. That's just how we have to live. However, when it comes to the young ones, you have to act proper. There be no reason for it to be about you anymore. You do an event for a child, you help a child out, and that be the important thing, and then you go about your business afterwards.
I'll give you one, and I'll have to reset the story a bit, but it's always a good one. And I got this firsthand from Santa Claus himself. And Santa Claus comes to St. Augustine for the beach tree lighting ceremony every year. And around the year right after COVID, Santa had a little boy sitting in his lap. The little boy was probably about 5 years old. And Santa told me that the little boy took up quite a bit of his time, but he wasn't asking for toys. He just wanted to talk about reindeer and snow and the North Pole. And it just was a conversation. And when he sat down or stepped down off of Santa's lap and took his daddy's hand and walked away, Santa said he was so surprised the boy kept looking back at him and waving at him. And then about 40 yards out, dropped his daddy's hand and come running back over and leaped into Santa's arms and gave him a big hug. And then whispered in Santa's ear, "You sound just like Captain Mayhem." It's a grand story. And it also shows one other thing. Children are a bit more smarter than we give them credit for.
They are indeed. I had one once. I'd never heard this joke before then. So as far as I'm concerned, they created it and completely unintentional. But we was at an event, and someone approached a member of my crew and was asking about hiring us on for something. And one of the young girls, no more than 10 perhaps, said, why are you hiring pirates? And my mate turned to her and said, do you know what privateers are? And the young lady next to her said, without missing a beat, they be when you go in a room and cry by yourself. And the reaction were exactly that. They were laughing and then, oh, what happened? Why would that be the first thing in your mind? So clever and funny and sad all at once.
That's a good one. I love that. Davey, if you haven't written that down, we got to make sure we remember that one, and we'll have to get
I put it as one of my jokes.
Did you really?
But I put it as one of my jokes in the coloring book. Too good
to pass. That's a great one. I love it. So you did the artwork of the book. You did the writing of the book. Your lovely better half did the editing of the book.
Aye.
Did she find many mistakes?
Oh, yes. Plenty. Well, if you've read it, the book reads the way I speak, so it ain't straightforward text you get from somewhere else, and a lot of apostrophizing and words that get cut off halfway, and some of them intentional, and some of them not so much. So she caught quite a few of them, and but I paid her for it. I paid her for it. Not a lot, because I'm a pirate, but I gave her something.
I have found by watching posts on Facebook, there are a lot of pirates that type the way they talk.
Oy. So, and then they've been drinking for a while before they sit down to computer. That weren't my problem. I just weren't paying attention.
So do you have a plan to do another one now? If this one here has been successful, do you think you want to try something else?
Well, I have a few different ideas in mind that ain't specifically pirate books, but I do have, as I mentioned, I have some supplementals for the people who joined the Kickstarter. They got up to I want to say it was 60 different additional pages. I have a few more I'm working on, so I think what I'll be doing is probably adding another 10, 15 and making a hardcover copy of it. So an expanded hard copy would
Well,
be
that's a good idea. You know, here's one of the things I thought of, and I guess maybe this is one of the reasons why I like it and it's so clean. But you're solving the problem for me by getting on your newsletter. I'm going to get a couple of the pages. They're worthy of framing and putting on the wall.
I appreciate it. I actually have some prints of the Kraken. I have an Etsy page which will get linked to my website eventually. I do have some. I don't think I've got one to show you, but I have some that you can buy as prints, which will be going up on Etsy shortly.
Well, very good. So yeah, I think that I'm not going to cut this book up because this book sits on my top shelf. I have a top shelf. I have 4 shelves of books, and I have certain books that make it to the top shelf. Top shelf book.
I appreciate that, mate.
But it's worthy of reading, and you've the fact that the Pirate Museum sold them out, and I don't know how many you made the deal for, but it's just, I mean, I love what you did on the back of the book. I had this sitting here while I was doing some stuff this afternoon, and here you have, and I can't read it in my life, a merry life and a short one, though less about now, or less short now. Roberts. So
you have to have some proper quotes from your peers, don't you?
Absolutely. I mean, you've got Sam Bellamy here, and I cannot wait to return home and read it to Marie.
Yeah, it didn't work so well for him on that one, but that's all.
No, it didn't. It didn't work for him in any way, shape, or form.
No, it
no.
didn't.
And you got one from Henry Every. I am bound to Madagascar with a denizen of making my own fortune, but not without this book in hand. I mean,
the most confusing one, I think, where if there's a man among you, you'll read this book just as I've read it by Mary Read. That one seems to go in circles a bit.
Yes, a bit. I've been very, very ingenious marketing. The book is wonderful.
Thank you.
I actually the whole last week, from last weekend to this weekend, when I was doing some of the tours in the museum, I on some occasions tend to talk about our Captain's Quarters podcast, and I give out cards to everybody so we can get more and more people to watch it. And one of the things that I was doing was telling everybody, my next show is going to have this book. Well, Friday and Saturday last weekend, 2 weekends ago, there was a book. On Sunday, I went out and said, and our guest is going to be this book. We're out of books.
Oh.
So I may have to carry this one in a satchel and show it off as my very own. But
hold on to it.
Book. It's got imagination in it. It's got real history in it. I mean, there's real stuff in it. It's not like you just made everything up, which pirates tend to do at times. But it really touches piracy and the nautical world. I mean, I have a traveling museum we call Mayhem's Nautical Museum. At first, we used to call it the Traveling Pirate Museum, but it's more nautical than it is pirate, because there's a lot more to the nautical world than just the pirates, and a lot of it's interesting. So,
bit of mythology, a bit of mythology, bit of history in there, tiny bits. Hopefully a bit of humor, and I tried to put in something for everyone.
I get the feeling that sharing a stage with you for a couple of shows would be a joy and a lot of entertainment for all of our audience.
I hope we get the pleasure to do that someday, mate.
There's 1 or 2 pirates down this way that I've shared the stage with, and I find it flattering that we can work together on the stage. And as I told you before, I'm totally an impromptu actor when it comes to doing the things we're doing. But Davey and I are working on on a short pirate movie now. And it may be about 5 scenes, maybe 6 scenes. That's all it's going to be. But I'm finding out that I'm going to have a script for some of the other pirates. We can't all be opening our mouth off the cuff.
No, there has to be some measure of control.
And so we're working on that. But we'll see what we can do with it. But you have an open invitation to come on down this way anytime you want. Make sure you bring that lovely wife of yours too.
I thank you. And the same goes for you and your crew coming up here to Massachusetts and join me. Just pick the right window because the weather be miserable 9 months out of 12. But if we get the few that work, and I'm sure Davey can fill you in, we'd love to have you.
Yeah, well, we'll see what we can do about it. It is time for us to do a couple of other things with our show, which means next on the show is, well, how this works out well. This Week in History, narrated by Davey and sponsored by Dick's Wings, our great restaurant here in the area. Dick's Wings specializes in wings, but my goodness, do they have some of the greatest lunch specials going anywhere in St. Augustine. Lunch specials starting at $8.99. You can't beat that. A good burger for that price, or their foot-long hot dog for around that same price. And they just started something new, and I don't have one of the coins on me here, do I? I do not. And we're going to have to send one up to you. But the the podcast coins, you can now, if you have a coin in your possession and you're in St. Augustine, if you go to Dick's Wings and turn over your coin to them, they will give you any drink you ask for. Any drink. That's not just tap beer or bottom shelf booze. Any drink you ask for, he will give you the first one for free by turning in your coin. That's a good deal because some of my pirate friends know that one of my favorite rums is Diplomatico. And he keeps that on the shelf just for Captain Mayhem. So if you go in there and turn your coin over, you can get you a shot of Diplomat. Oop, it's almost like I've had one already. I'm drinking apple juice, by the way, right now. So you can go in. So we're going to be making more and more of those coins and start to pass them out everywhere. And we want people to come in and use them. I'll be sending you one in the mail as soon as I can get the new ones in. And we'll send you one up. You hang on to it for the next time you're down here. Your first drink is on the Captain's Quarters podcast.
I will indeed. I'll hold on dear.
All right, very good. So Davey, go ahead.
Oh, yeah.
And say what?
You were asking if I had a question for me, but what I was doing is I was having fun, and I went to his webpage, and I took one of his pictures, and I made him an oil painting.
Oh,
well, that's a pretty good shot there.
Doesn't he look good as an oil painting? It looks like he came right from that time period.
Did you just create that with some AI?
I was working on it, and then I also did but I like this one.
I like that one.
I like it as well.
Very good.
I can send it to him.
All right, there you go. I like that, Davey. Very good. Well, give us This Week in Nautical History. Week in History.
Welcome to This Week in History, sponsored by our good friends at Dick's Wings Bar and Grill. Wings, salads, wraps, quesadillas, and more. No matter what your taste buds crave, they've got you covered. We begin This Week in History in the year 1661. First banknotes in Europe are issued by the Bank of Stockholm. 1692. 5 more people are hanged for witchcraft, 19 in all, in Salem, Massachusetts. 1799. The Rosetta Stone is found in Egyptian village of Rosetta by French Captain Pierre-François Bouchard during Napoleon's Egyptian campaign. 1853. Central Park in New York created when New York State Legislature put aside more than 750 acres of land on Manhattan Island. 1862. John Hunt Morgan's Confederate cavalry raid reaches Cynthia, Kentucky. 1932. U.S. President Herbert Hoover cuts own salary 15%. 1938. Douglas Wrongway Corrigan arrives in Ireland after a 28-hour flight, supposedly left New York flying for California. 1940, Democratic Convention nominates FDR for a historic third term. 1950, New York Yankees sign their first black players, Elston Howard and Frank Baines. 1958, President Eisenhower sends U.S. troops to Lebanon. They stay 3 months. 1968, Intel Corporation is founded in Santa Clara, California. 1969, Apollo 11 launched, carrying first men to land on Moon. 1983, film version of The Pirates of Penzance, starring Kevin Kline, Linda Ronstadt, and Angela Lansbury, premieres in U.S. And finally, in 2016, Stranger Things debuts on Netflix, created by the Duffer Brothers, starring Winona Ryder, David Harbour, Finn Wolfhard, Natalie Dyer, and Millie Bobby Brown. And that was This Week in History.
Very good. Davey, it's in Stranger Things is in your history there. Did you happen to find some of the pictures of us with all the kids from that show?
No, I have them somewhere, but from the Rainbow Room, those kids.
Yeah, we got to hang out with at the Ancient City Con 2 years ago, I think it was. All the children that were in the episodes about the experimental things, they were all at the con, and we got to hang out with them. Several of them liked hanging out with us because our pirate booth was the most fun.
Oh, excellent.
Right. So we got some great pictures with them there. So that was a good one. So, ladies and gentlemen, every week we try to do something, or I try to do something, or I try to impart some wisdom from the captain's desk, ideas or thoughts or reflections or words. And I try to write something that is pretty much for the time frame of what we're in. And I wrote something earlier today, and I let people look at it, a few trusted people. I don't let them look at it to edit it for spelling or punctuation. I let them look at it and then tell me what they see out of it. And hopefully what they see out of it is the same direction I'm going. Well, something I wrote today didn't smooth out as well. So I ended up at last minute rewriting it. So we never want to make our show politically controversial, but we surely do want to make sure that that we let people know that as pirates, we believe in the idea that everybody should have a voice, as pirates all had voice on the ship, and that everybody should be allowed to speak their voice. I ended up chopping it all the way down to something a little bit different. And as you all know, that I've done comedy clubs, and I'm a comedian, or at least I think I am. So I've changed it, and this is what I have for you. And I hope that it goes upon ears that enjoy or at least heed to the thoughts. I've seen lately many memes on Facebook that have poked fun at issues, some as recent as this weekend. I laughed, but of course, why wouldn't I? Because I've made a career of making people laugh, and to me, humor is very important. Humor helps us learn things. Humor helps us to grieve. It helps us also, most assuredly, to handle some things in life that just become very, very large. One of my favorite comedians of all times was George Carlin. And there's been a lot about George Carlin on the news, on the YouTube lately, because it's just a time to start celebrating comedians again. I went onto a website and found some quotes by George Carlin that I recall him using in some of his shows. So I thought I would share with you a few quotes just to get the humor of the world around us a little bit further away from the negativity and a little bit further towards letting people breathe a bit. This first one just really sets well. Carlin says that some people have no idea what they're doing, and a lot of them are really good at it. That right there would pretty much classify just about, well, I'm not going to say. When you're born into this world, you're given a ticket to the freak show. If you're born in America, you get a front row seat. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, many of us are getting a front row seat on everything going on right around us. Stay in your seat. Don't be part of the show. Religion is like a pair of old shoes. Find a pair that fits for you, but don't make anyone else wear your shoes. That's a really good one, not only just about religion, but about just about all the other things that go on that make us all different as we are. Carlin said that it's the duty of comedians to find out where the line is drawn and cross it deliberately. There is a humorous side to every situation. The challenge is to find it. And people who see life as anything more than just pure entertainment are missing the point of life. Those quotes all fit very much with what I had originally written, but had decided to hold off on it. So I want to close, though, with this thought. Wanting to play the part. So I close with this thought, and I'm not wanting to play any kind of the part of a suppressor of words and opinions. That would be anti-mayhem as far as I'm concerned. I am in no way saying people shouldn't speak out. I'm also not saying that people should remain quiet. What I am trying to convey is that ugly name-calling, foul language, and bullying directed at people for speaking out their personal thoughts, which they are entitled to, just continues to inflame issues, which in turn serves no purpose. Using name-calling, yelling, screaming at the top of your lungs, foul language, physical altercations, and bullying may be your right, but your rights should never remove the rights of others. Speaking as adults with other adults in adult fashion with manners and respect should be the norm, not the exception. And social media has made things very, very tough for people. It's sad and disappointing. I've lost a few friends over the last 3 or 4 weeks, but we didn't have any conversation, none whatsoever. I know exactly why I lost them, but it's a shame because we didn't have a conversation first before we started unfriending people. Remember these last words, and then I'll quit at this point and make it a short one tonight. What you say about people will affect who you said it about. It will also affect those that hear you say it. And most importantly, it will affect those that hear you say it and their thoughts about you for saying it. How do you want to be known? As I've gotten older, I've pulled back. Sometimes I don't want to. But sometimes I'd rather have good conversations with my friends and not hateful conversations with anybody. And those are the words across the captain's desk for this week. Davey, will that do?
Yes.
Very good. Davey and I are very adamant that we want to use our show as a platform, but we don't want to make it a platform that makes everybody upset with us. So I write things and then rewrite things and then rewrite things because I'm hoping to always find the proper words and the proper respect for anybody. Things are going to hell in a handbasket, as people might say, but George Carlin also said, don't worry about burning in hell. None of us are going there anyway. Aye. Upon that note, guest on deck. And Davey, I understand you got something new for us.
Yes.
Very good.
That was something Mandy and I put together, something different to help. Yeah, you know.
Well, we've had conversations, Davey. We're trying to make things look fun and activity. Nobody wants to tune in just to watch me talk. But people do want to tune in to see some of the fun things we do and some of the great guests we have, which brings me to first the reveal of the joke with Mini Mayhem, and then Captain Mako gets the last word.
Yep.
Oh, first of all, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can. And you get a chance to think about your last word while Mini Mayhem tells his joke.
I shall. Thank you.
Right. Bring Mini.
It's time for the answer to the joke of the week. Why did the pirate get a tattoo of an anchor? The answer is he wanted to stay grounded.
Oh. Yeah. Davey, you might be the only one laughing on that one. So I'd like to thank Captain Mako for being a part of our show, sharing this book. I've enjoyed it. I guess
I can't wait till we get the signed ones that we can buy.
I guess one of the other things I like about this book, and maybe this is what I meant by clean, because this is what dawned on me. Because each page is a different denizen of the deep. It's not a storybook. I can pick it up and turn to a page and read about it and set it down and come back days later and read about another one. I don't have to sit and read it page by page by page. And that's
you can read straight through if you like.
What's that?
You can read straight through if you like. You can flip about and find the things you like. You can go to that map and look for the creatures wherever you be in the world. There's a few ways to tackle it.
Yeah, but you know what? With the attention span of most pirates, you've written the perfect book.
Cheers. I thank you.
All right. Well, I give you the last word before we go into anything else. Go ahead.
Last word. All right. Last word, pirates. First of all, gents, I want to thank you for having me on tonight. For all the pirates out there, remember why we do this. Remember what we're doing. We're here to enjoy ourselves. We're here to give a bit of enjoyment to the other people around. Life be too short for squabbling over nonsense, especially when there be a sea full of beasties out to do you in. Pirates need to stick together. And that be my final word.
Aye, very good. Davey, I'm going to just real quick wander back through and see if we missed any comments. I hate it when we miss comments. Let's see. I'll pop that one up to start with. Cat Devia does the same thing when Mark and I hold hands. So that came from the fact that my son, Will the historian, he tries to hold Lauren's hand and their pet won't allow it by getting in between them. All right. How about that? So I had Parlay 8. I want to thank them for watching the show. We appreciate them being a part of the show, and we look forward to them being here in August. Scarlett Deerhart is here. She says she has a copy. There's another one right there. Look at that.
Thank you, Scarlett.
Nightingale, Christina, that's 2. Davy, that's 3. I'm sure there's a couple of others. Maybe we can work out a way if you can't go to Panama City. There's Sarah. She wants one. That's 4. I got 4 sold for you already. And I'm sure we'll get a couple more. Maybe we could take a few over to Panama City. If you can't be there yourself, we'll take some over with us if you want.
I would love it. We'll work it out one way or the other.
One of the things we're working on to start putting up at some of our booths wherever we go is a television screen with an ongoing loop of nothing but pictures and bits and pieces of everything that we've done with the show and with the crew. So we'll be advertising you no matter where we go from now on. You are part of our family. Let's see. I think we've covered just about everything, Davey. I don't think I really missed anything this time. Very good. Very good. On that note, Davey, let's do a thank you video.
All right.
The Captain's Quarters podcast is indeed a ship sailing the seas of the world, always in search of history, knowledge, and adventure. It takes a crew to run a ship, so we take this opportunity to thank those who help keep this ship afloat.
The cast and crew: Captain William Mayhem, Navigator Davy Longwood, Gunner Hellfire Henley, Cartographer Mandy Joe, the Powder Monkey, and Juan Cam.
Helping others gives a crew purpose. Our treasured charities that we support: Inc., investing in kids; the Humane Society of St. Johns County; Alia's Acres, a no-kill animal rescue zone; and the Cadets of the St. Johns County Fire Department. The 4 major charities that we support, but there's always room for more.
You too can be part of the crew and support the show in many ways. Go to Patreon. A small monthly contribution as Powder Monkey or First Mate memberships, or a single contribution. PayPal or Venmo. Go to YouTube, hit the like and follow buttons to join our ranks and support the show. It does take a crew. Thank you.
Good job, Davey. Show us our platforms real quick. Tonight, YouTube. But after YouTube, Spotify, and Instagram. And if you want to just listen to us, Stitcher, iHeart, CastBox, Apple Podcast, and Music Amazon. Maybe we'll be expanding to other platforms. You never know. And I'm always interested in this last part. This shows the numbers that we have on almost all of our platforms. Davey, take her away. Very good, Davey. Very good. Our number is 1576. That's pretty good. It's not as good as I would like, but we're only 23 away from 1600. 1600 is a very important number.
Mm-hmm.
Where the President of the United States lives. Well, Captain Mako, it was a grand pleasure to have you here on the show.
Thank you, gents. Thank you all for allowing me on board.
I know your lovely wife is watching from another room, so we like to thank her for being a part of our show also, because we know without her, you couldn't have done your book.
No, she be my navigator through life. I'll pass your compliments on.
There you go. We all have those, and they're important to make sure we let them know so. So we thank you very much. Davey, how do we close the show?
Part of the podcast.
Part of the crew, always. We can't do it without you, ladies and gentlemen. We could, but it won't be as much fun. So join us every Monday night at 8 o'clock. Captain's Quarters Podcast. We'll see you next week. Aye.
Down of history's embrace, Captain's Quarters.